SaaS product animations are blowing up right now, and startups are paying serious money for them. In this masterclass, I will show you step by step how to create one from scratch. We'll be recreating a high-end animation for Wise, and by the end, yours will look like this. Let's get started. In a new composition, let's create a solid layer. For that, right-click, go to New, go to Solid. I'm going to keep this as white. Perfect. Now on top of this, we have to add the logo. For that, coming over here, let's select the rounded rectangle tool. Holding Shift, let's make a square. Perfect. Let's press on Command Home to center it. Next, let's change the color to green. Over here, I'm going to paste this and just press on OK. Nice. Just going to call this as the logo. Next, on top of this, to create the logo, press on G to select the pen tool. Make one point over here, another point like this, little bit up. Holding Shift, make one point on the left, like this, and like this. Perfect. Let's change the color to black. Perfect. Again, selecting this, let's press on Command Home to center it. Perfect. Now coming over here, I'm going to name this as Wise. Perfect. Now in parent and link, let's take this pick and connect it to the logo. Perfect. Let me zoom out a bit. Nice. Now let's start with the animation. Firstly, selecting the logo, let's press on P for position. At the beginning, let's add a keyframe. Now let's zoom in. Let's keep it somewhere around 20 seconds. Now at the beginning, we'll drag it all the way out like this. We'll keep it somewhere over here. Perfect. Okay. And now remember, in order to give it that realistic look, firstly, it won't really come to rest over here. At the beginning, we'll drag it all the way over here and then it will rebound. So for that, somewhere over here, it can go like this. Nice. Now to give it the smooth animation, select all the keyframes and just press on F9. Going to a graph editor, let's select this one, make it all the way to the left and drag this one to the right. Let me see. No, maybe a little further, and these two keyframes can be a little up. Perfect. Finally, coming over here, let's turn on the motion blur. Nice. Let's close this. Now at this point, when it comes to rest, over here in the middle, we have to create an impact. To create that impact, let's come to the top, select the ellipse tool, holding Shift, let's create a nice ellipse like this. Again, press on Command Home to center it. Keep the stroke as nil. And let's decrease the transparency. We'll keep it around 50%. Perfect. Let's keep it somewhere over here. Ideally, when it comes to rest, at this point, we'll see the impact. So for that, selecting this, press on S for scale. Let's scale this down. Okay, we'll keep it 0. Add a keyframe. Now going to 1 second. Let's increase the size. Perfect. Now again selecting this, we have to create a mask. So for that, coming over here, click on this option which says Tool Create Mask. That way, if I zoom out and I create another circle like this, we see, perfect. This will work as a mask. So opening the mask, let's increase the feather and let's decrease the mask expansion. Now selecting both the keyframes, press on F9 to give it that easy ease. Now again selecting the layer, press on T for opacity, add a keyframe somewhere over here. At this point, it should be 0. Going a little back, it can be something like this. And earlier, again, it can be 0. Let me see. Okay, I think this is too fast. Maybe at this point, let's see. Okay. Let me do one thing. At this point, I'll increase the opacity. Okay, let's have a look. Nice. Next, we have to add the pointer. For that, let's go back to project. Let's select our hand pointer and drag and drop it to our timeline. Let's press on S. Let's scale this down, maybe around 25%. Okay, this looks fine. So in the beginning, we have to keep it somewhere out like this. Again, add a keyframe in position. Let's go at the start. Add a keyframe. As we move here, it needs to come like this. Okay, ideally it will come to rest over here. Perfect. And then it will go down. So at this point, we can drag it down like this. Okay, I'm going to keep it over here. Let me see. Nice. Now again, selecting the layer, press on T for opacity. Somewhere at this point, add a keyframe. Going back over here, let's keep this as nil. Perfect. Let's drag this little ahead. Selecting all the keyframes. Let's firstly press on F9. For easy ease, go into the position. Go to the graph editor. Let's select this. Drag it little to the left. Something like this. No. Ideally it needs to be little later. Maybe somewhere over here. Let's see. Yeah, this is much better, right? Okay. And for this one, we can drag it little on the right. Something like this. No, this is too fast. Maybe we'll drag it little ahead. This one can be over here. Let me see now. See, really it's stopping over here. I don't really want that stop. So I'm going to just drag it little up over here. Okay, this is much better. Now finally, to complete our first animation, we have to do some shape morphing. To do that, let's select our logo. Go to a drop down. In contents, in rectangle 1, you will find the rectangle path. So let's say somewhere over here. At this point, we'll add a keyframe in size. From here till 1 second, we have to quickly change this scale. So for that, I'm going to open up the lock. Let me increase the size like this. Perfect. Let's do the same for the roundness. Add a keyframe. As we move ahead over here, let's make it round. Okay, let me see. Perfect. Let's make it a little bigger. Nice. Now selecting all the 4 keyframes, press on F9. Now going to our Simply Ease plugin. Let's just select cubicle. Let me see now. Nice. If we go to graph editor, see, we have got a simple graph like this. Now at this point, we have to select the logo, press on T for opacity. So when this is increasing in size, you have to add a keyframe over here, maybe a little earlier. And at this point, it should ideally become 0. Let me see. Nice. Same thing for the logo. At this point, let's press on T for opacity, add a keyframe, maybe a little ahead. And then over here, let's simply make this as nil. Perfect. Again, selecting all 4 of them, just press on F9. Perfect. Now finally, let's add the 4 logos over here. Selecting all 4 of them, you can go to align. And let's align it firstly vertically. Okay, looks good. And then let's distribute it horizontally. Okay, let me see. Perfect. Now before we proceed, let me add the audio as well. So if we go ahead, somewhere over here would be the final position of these logos. So let's add keyframe in position. Select all of them. Press on P. Add a keyframe. Let's move a little earlier. At this point, let's select this one. We need to drag it little to the right. This one. Okay, let me just firstly arrange them properly. US, UK, Brazil. Okay. So Canada will be out like this. Okay. Same thing for these two. It will be on the left. And the last one would also be on the left. And finally, somewhere over here, we have to group all of them together. So let's bring this in the center. Okay, I'm going to do the same for the others. Okay, let me keep it a little earlier. Perfect, and this could be over here. Now selecting all the keyframes, let's press on F9 for the easy ease. Going to graph editor. So let me in fact zoom in a bit. Let's drag all of them towards the left, and selecting this, let's drag it towards the right. Nice. Now again selecting all, press on T for opacity. Let's go back. Let's add keyframe in opacity at this point. Take this to 1 second, and at this point, let's make this as 0. Perfect. So our animation 1 is completed. Let's have a look at what we have created. Now in continuation to this, in our scene 2, we are going to create this wallet animation. Now to keep everything moving, at this point, we are again going to create the wallet. For that, let's again select our logo. At this point, we'll add a keyframe in opacity. Let's zoom in a bit. If we go ahead over here, we can again increase the opacity. Let's keep it to 100%. Now going over here in the drop down, let's go to rectangle 1 in rectangle path 1. We have to just play around with the size. So firstly, let's add a keyframe over here. Let's take it to 10 frames. And now at this point, let's simply make this big like this. Perfect. Also, we have to change the color back to white. For that, again selecting this. In the search, let's search for fill. We got it over here. Let's open this up. Add a keyframe in color. Drag it somewhere over here. Now at this point, simply change the color back to white. Perfect. Let me see. Nice. Now going to our background over here, I'm going to simply change the tone in background settings. Let's give it a little different shade. Something like this. Okay. Okay, I think this is happening too fast. We'll do one thing. We'll select our logo, press on U, select all these keyframes and drag them little ahead. Maybe somewhere over here. Nice. And again, in order to create that bouncy animation, as always, let's keep it around 25 frames. Now at this point, at 20 frames, let's increase the size, something like this. Nice. Now at this point, when we are increasing the wallet size, I also want to show some impact in the background. So for that, you remember we had this layer, this BG highlight that we press on U to see. Okay, it was somewhere over here, right? So we simply take a copy of that by pressing on Command D, and then we just need to drag this over here. Let me see. Let me press on U. Maybe I will put the scale over here and this one somewhere over here. Nice. Now let's select all by pressing on Command A and just press on U to collapse them. Perfect. Now before we do anything, let's animate the icons. For that, firstly, we'll select our UK, press on T. Let me see, somewhere over here. I want to change the position. Basically, it will be going up and also changing its opacity. So we'll add a keyframe in opacity, maybe at this point, and at 25 frames, it should be 0. Perfect. Let's do one thing. Holding Shift, let's press on P. At this point, we'll add a keyframe. As we move ahead, we just need to drag this up. Let me see. Okay. Nice. Now for the other three, we are going to keep them over here, one below another. Let me do it for one, and then you can replicate the same process for the others. By the way, if you are still remembering the principles of motion design, we have to create some anticipation. Ideally, when we drag this over here, we don't really want it to stop immediately. We want it to go little ahead and then come back. You can call it as anticipation, or you can also consider it as follow through. So to do that, let's firstly select Brazil. Press on P for position. Holding Shift, I'm also going to press on S for scale because we are going to scale it down a bit. So let's say at this point, when it is increasing in size, we'll add a keyframe in position and also add one in scale. Now going ahead at 25 frames, we have to firstly drag this down on the left and then down over here. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's decrease the size and keep it around 20. Okay, looks good. And in order to create that follow through, somewhere over here, we will drag them little ahead. And at this point, let's drag it all the way like this. Let me see. No. Let me zoom in a bit. That way I can see it properly. Ideally, it needs to be like this. Okay, let's see. Okay, I still think it is quite fast, but not an issue. We'll drag all of them little earlier. Let's zoom out a bit. Okay, perfect. Now again selecting both these keyframes. Let's press on F9. Now I'm going to repeat the same for the other two flags. Once you complete this is how it will look like. Now to proceed, I'm going to teach you how to create the number animation. It's really not that difficult. Firstly, I will teach you how to create for the main one, and I will repeat again the same steps for the other three animations. To create one, you can go and select our text tool. Coming over here, click once. Let's write the currency. Let's say $17,346. And we keep it over here. Increase the size. Again, it doesn't really matter. It's going to change in a second. Let's keep it over here. Now again selecting this. Next, let's go to the top in Effects. In Expression Controls, you will find the slider control. Now let's go to a drop down. In Text, in the source text, you will find this Pickwick. All you need to do is take this and connect it to the slider over here. See, immediately the number becomes 0, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to give you a quick expression which you can use every time you have to create a number counter. Now coming over here in a drop down, you will find the expression. Let's click over here. Let's delete this one. And all you need to do is paste this expression. Now going over here in the slider control, let's click on the slider. Selecting the layer, press on U. See, we have got the first keyframe. Now going ahead, let's say at this point, let's change this to any amount that we want. In this case, I want to keep the same amount. Let's say 0.8. So that way, we'll get a nice number counter all the way from 0 to 17,000. See. Perfect. So I'll do one thing. Somewhere at this point, when it is increasing in size, okay, over here, we'll place the first keyframe. And you can keep the second keyframe at 2 seconds. Also at the beginning, I don't really want it to start from 0. So I'm just going to keep any random amount, 0.3. Okay. So again selecting this, let's press on T for opacity, add a keyframe. Earlier than this, it will be 0. Perfect. Again selecting this, holding shift, press on P, add a keyframe position. So if this is going to be the final position, let me see. Okay, let's do one thing. At this point, let's keep it properly over here. Okay, let's consider this. Oh no, we'll do one thing. We'll drag it little down. Somewhere over here. Let me see. Okay, in fact, we'll need to keep it over here. Now at the beginning, we can drag this little up over here on the right. And also we can play around with the size. So let's holding shift, press on S, add a keyframe, drag it little ahead. Now at this point, let's simply make it small. Okay, let's play around with the opacity as well. Okay, as you can see over here, when this icon is going up, it is not really looking that nice. So I'll do one thing. Which icon was this? This was UK, right? Okay. So holding this, where's the opacity? At this point, is it becoming nil? Correct. So I'll do one thing. Selecting this, I'm just going to drag this earlier. Perfect. And this slider can be little ahead. That's not really an issue. Perfect. Again, selecting all the keyframes in order to ease it. Let's just press on F9. Perfect. Looks pretty good. In similar manner, let's add 3 number counters over here. There's one additional thing that we need to do. You just add the currency. I will show you how to do it while adding the number counter over here. So for that, let's simply take a copy of this by pressing on Command D. Let's drag this down over here. Or in fact, we'll do one thing. Now holding Shift and down key, let's simply drag this down. Over here, let's decrease the size. Perfect. Let's keep it little ahead. Nice. We don't really need these keyframes. I'm just going to remove the position as well as scale. Opacity is fine. Okay. Let's decrease the size further. Perfect. Going over here in the expression, original expression. Going over here in the source text, in the expression, you can remove this dollar. Just simply delete it, and now you can write plus. So for Brazil, it's BRL. Okay, plus we can do one thing. We can add some space as well. Perfect. Now going back to a slider, let's press on U. Where's the slider? This one, right? So now at this point, you'll keep it around 500 or 501.2, and this one can be 1500. Again, it doesn't really matter. Now to animate the layer, let's press on T, as well as holding shift, let's also press on P. Let's add keyframe. You can drag this ahead over here. Let's see. No, ideally it should start somewhere over here. Okay, perfect. Add a keyframe. Going earlier, let's simply drag this up. We'll do one thing at this point. Let's press on U. Here, right, instead of 500, I'm just going to put 1100. And this one can be around 7000 something. Okay. Now once you complete the animation for the other two currencies, it should look something like this. Perfect. Now over here on the right, I'm going to quickly add few notches. So again, prolapse all the layers. Selecting our pen tool. Coming over here, let me do one thing. Let me select our rulers. Let's add one ruler so that we can understand. Perfect. So let's make one point over here. Let's increase the stroke a bit, maybe around 10 pixels. Make another point over here, and finally one point on the top. Basically we don't really want any fill, so keep it as none. Let me zoom out a bit. It's so weird. Don't worry, we'll change it. Here, keep it up, press on G again, and let's drag this down. Okay, let's keep it 5 pixels. Perfect. Let's go in content, in shape, in stroke, and let's change the line cap from butt cap to round cap. Let me zoom out a bit. Let's see. Still don't really like it. Let me fine tune this. Okay, again selecting this, press on S. Let's keep it around 80%. Let me see. Okay, this is fine. I'm just going to name this as the notch 1. To animate this, let's say somewhere over here. When we are getting this animation, we'll also get this one. By the way, I forgot to do one thing. Ideally, for all of them, we have to create that follow through effect as well, right? So basically, when this text will come in, we don't really want it to come to rest over here. Let's select P for position. Okay, we'll do one thing, select all of them, drag them little ahead. Now at this point, let's select the first one. Let's drag it further down. So that way it will go down and then up. Okay. Okay, nice. Going to a graph editor, we can keep this one like this and this one on the right. Okay, I'm going to repeat this for the others. Finally, we don't really need to skew it. Let's keep it on top of each other like this. Let's see. Nice. We can do it for a notch as well. Press on P. Add a keyframe. Going a little earlier. Let's drag this down a bit. And going back somewhere over here, let's take it all the way up. Somewhere over here. Again, add opacity. At this point, it will be 100%. Going back over here, let's keep this as 0. Let me see. Okay, we'll do some changes. Perfect. Selecting all. Again, press on F9. Nice. Now let's take 2 copies of these notches by pressing on Command D twice. Let's take this one. Press on U. Selecting all the keyframes. Holding Shift. Let's simply drag this down. Okay, let me see. Okay, this looks fine. Maybe a little down. Perfect. Again, selecting this, press on U. Selecting all. Holding Shift, let's simply drag this down. Okay, the distance is not really same and it's irritating me a lot. Let me do one thing. At this point, I'll select all, drag them little down. I know I can use the align, but I'm just a little lazy to do that. And this one, where is this one? So at this point, it goes a little up. And this one, I will leave notch 2, can go a little down. Okay, let's keep little gap. Let me zoom out. We'll see how it looks. Perfect. Next, we have to create the wallet shape over here. For that, let's again go over here. Select our rounded rectangle tool. Let me make a nice shape like this over here. Let's change the color and keep it as linear gradient. Perfect. Let's change the colors. I'm going to give it 2 different shades of green. Let's keep this one. Keep the stroke as null. Let me see. Okay, it should be somewhere over here. Opening this up in rectangle. Let's increase the roundness. Okay, let's increase the size. Finally, over here to create a notch, let's select the pen tool. Let's zoom in, selecting the shape. Let's make one point over here, make another point like this, and let's simply drag it down in this way. Let me leave it. Let's see. Perfect. Now selecting the shape, right click, go to layer styles, and let's add the inner shadow. Let's change the direction. We'll keep it something like this. Reduce the opacity. Let me see. Okay, not bad at all. Let's increase the distance a bit. Nice. Looks pretty good, right? Going to the top, let me see if I can give it a little better color. I think this looks much better, right? Okay, selecting the shape. Let's shift it a little to the right so that it's in the center. Perfect. Looks pretty good. Now selecting this, I'm just going to call this as the wallet notch. Perfect. Now opening this up, our second panel. We have to track map this to our main layer, which is nothing but our logo layer. Let's again unhide this. Perfect. So somewhere over here, let's add a keyframe in transparency as well as position as always. Add a keyframe in both. Let's drag them a little ahead. At this point, let's keep the opacity as nil. Drag this little down. Also, we can do one thing. We can add a key. Holding shift, we can press on S for scale. Add a keyframe. Again, drag it ahead. At this point, we can open up the locks and make this small like this. Perfect. So again, let's keep it at 2 seconds. Now at this point, let's make this 110. That way it will expand and then it will come like this. Okay, on the position, yeah, the position is fine. I don't really want to mess with that. Okay, let's do one thing now. Selecting all the keyframes, press on F9. Looks pretty good, right? Selecting this, let's go to graph editor. Let's drag this all the way to the left and let's keep this little on the right. Perfect. Now finally, let's add the logo over here. Where the logo over here, right? Let's take a copy of it by pressing on Command D. Let's drag it up over here. Press on U. Okay, opacity can be 100%. Let's remove this keyframe. Keep the fill as none. Let's keep it over here. Press on S. Scale it to 50%. Okay, position. Let me zoom in properly. Okay, perfect. Let's zoom out. At this point, we have to reveal this logo as if it comes from inside the wallet. So let's select this. Let's go to track matte and let's track matte this to the wallet notch. Let's again reveal this. Now over here, let me see, it comes in like this, right? So at this point, add a keyframe, drag this ahead, let's add 10 frames, and over here, let's simply drag this up. Okay, selecting all the keyframes, press on F9, going to the graph editor. Let's create the steep curve like this. Nice. I'm going to do one thing. Keep this little smaller. Let's say around 40%. Okay. Press on P. Selecting both of them. Let's drag this little to the right. Okay, let me see. Perfect. Now finally, in order to complete our second scene, let's animate our hand. Let's select this, press on P for keyframes. Let's say ideally it comes to halt over here, correct? So again, it will stay over here just for a second, or we can do one thing. We don't really need to keep a halt over here. Okay, ideally at this point, it needs to again go up. Let's do one thing, let's zoom out a bit. Let me go to the right. Let's say we'll keep this over here. Perfect. And then again at this point, it needs to go all the way up over here. Okay. No, maybe a little later. Perfect. Now let's go to graph editor. Let me zoom in. Okay, we have to keep it again like this, and this one should be on the right. Selecting both of them, let's drag this little up like this. Let's see. Okay, let me see again. No, ideally it's not really happening very fast. Let's do one thing. Let's drag this over here. Correct. Let's see it from the beginning. Nice. So it goes down, and when it is coming up, we get the second animation. Nice. So in this way, our animation 1 and animation 2 are complete. So in our scene 1 and scene 2, you have understood all the basics of creating this SaaS animation. Now for your reference, I have created the entire last scene, and now I will take you through it step by step. Don't worry, I won't miss a single step. So firstly, let's observe our hand. Let's select that. You can see the layer got highlighted. Let me press on U. So if you remember, in our last step, the hand was resting over here. After that, we're simply going to bring this down. To bring this down over here, we have simply played around with the position as well as the scale. And finally, I just changed the rotation such that it is facing straight. You can see over here, we are at an angle. As I move ahead, the hand becomes straight. Perfect. Next, let me click outside. You can see over here, once it is on top of it, we have to ensure that we are able to stretch it all the way to the right. You see, we have done that over here. So in order to do that, as you can see over here, we have just added a keyframe in the position. So as you can see, as I move to the right, let me zoom in properly so you can see it. As I move to the right, the hand simply moves along with the logo to the left. See, I hope this is clear. Now let's observe the other layers one by one. The next layer that we have is the US flag. Somewhere over here, if you remember in our initial animation, at this point, we had made this flag invisible. We are going to do, now over here, we are going to create an match color effect. To create that, at this point, ideally, when the logo is going to the right, we'll cut this layer of the logo. So as you can see over here, this Y's layer, I have cut it over here. And at the same point, I have added this US flag layer. So as you can see over here, we got a nice match color effect. In fact, I will do one thing. I need to keep this hand over the flag. Correct. Perfect, right? Nice. Now when this moves to the right, we have to ensure that this layer, which is nothing but our wallet notch, if I press on U, you can see we have just added a keyframe in the opacity. So from over here 100%, at this point it simply becomes 0. Perfect. The exact same thing happens to all these other elements as well. So as I move ahead, you can see they are becoming invisible. And at the same time, this flag of Canada is coming up. So let me click on that. Let me show you, where is it? Yeah, this one. Let me press on U. See, from this point, we just added keyframes in position and scale. From this point onwards, it simply comes up and stops over here. Perfect. Let me go up. Next is the text. If you observe this one, which is nothing but our original text, if I press on U, see, after this point, we have added keyframes again in the position scale. Just observe the scale and the position. From this point onwards, we are changing the position, so it is going to the right. Let me in fact click this layer so you can see this. See, at this point it was over here, and as I move ahead, at this point it goes and sits on this side, and also we reduce the scale. Okay, the exact same thing we have done over here. If I press on U, you can see we have added keyframes in the position and scale. Perfect. Next are the notches which you see on the right. If you observe initially, these notches were facing the other direction. If I click on this, to press on U again, see now at this point, all we are doing is ensuring that it moves up. So we added a keyframe in position, and this time in order to make something unique, we also added a keyframe in rotation. So as you can see, let me in fact deselect the layer so you can see the animation. Just observe this notch. So it is coming up like this. Okay. So for that, we just added a keyframe in rotation where it rotates from 0 to 180 degrees. You can see it here, it's 180 degrees. Perfect. Next is the background. If you remember initially, this background, it was nothing but our logo. Let me press on U. See, it was of this size. Now from this point onwards, maybe somewhere over here, correct, we added keyframes. And now from over here, as we move ahead, we are simply increasing the size. So for that, as you can see, we have added a keyframe in size. So at this point, the size was around 717. As I move ahead, so we increased it and we're keeping it around 918. Perfect. Next is the text. Text is pretty straightforward. Now for the text, as you can see over here, we simply wrote the text. And if I open this up, in the text, in Animator 1, we have added parameters in position and opacity. So as you can see over here, as it comes up, we can slowly see the opacity increasing. Perfect. Same thing with the position. We have added a parameter in y-axis. That is why it is coming from the bottom. If you keep it negative, let's say you keep it like this, and then you observe, it will come from the top. Okay. I hope it's pretty clear. For now, let me keep it 30. Perfect. Then the exact same thing we have done for this text as well. This one is done. Next is received in seconds. Again, if I press on U, see we have just added keyframes. See, this initial animation is the same. For the position animation, we have added keyframes. That way, it will bounce around up and down. Okay, that's it. It will go up, it will go down, and it will come to rest at this point. I hope it's clear. Next is the divider 1 and divider 2. Again, I didn't really want to keep some blank spaces between these characters. That's why I added a divider over here as well as one over here. And if I press on U to show you the animations, see at this point, the opacity is quite low, basically 0. See over here, it's 0. And if you observe the position, similar to this text, we have again added keyframes which takes the divider up and down. It gives it that bouncing animation. Perfect. I hope this is clear. Then finally, let's observe the button. So if I press on U again, see at this point, the scale is non-existent. It's 0. As I move ahead, as the anchor point is in the middle, it scales up from that point. See like this. Okay. Again, as always, to create that bounce animation, we're going to firstly keep this at 110. As you can see over here. Again, as I move ahead, this will become 90. And finally, at this point, it will come to rest at 100%. Okay. Again, instead of that, I've just added the word send money. And the animation that you can see over here is exactly the same like the one for this word. Okay. We have just added parameters in position and opacity. Perfect. Now finally, let's observe this hand pointer. Let me press on U. See, before this point, actually I will just delete this. We don't really need that. What I did, remember earlier, somewhere over here, this hand, it went out. So at that point, I simply split the layer. To split the layer, you can press on Command Shift and D. And once I split the layer, I drag it down over here. As you can see over here, see, it's at this point. So now from this point onwards, I want it to come on this button and then drag it up. So till here, it will simply shift on the right. And then from this point onwards, we have to shift this button upwards. And we have to keep it in the middle. So it will go up like this. And then as it is going up, we also have to reduce the opacity. See. Perfect. I hope it's clear. And finally, as you can observe over here, when we are going up, the send money is going down. See, you can see it's going down. And we have the logo coming in. Okay. To do that, what I have done, firstly, I selected the layer. In track matte, I track matte this layer to the button. Also, I added our Wise logo. and again I track matte it to the button. That way the entire animation will happen inside this button layer. So as you can see over here, as the text is inside the button layer, as we are moving ahead, as it goes outside the boundaries of this button, it simply vanishes. Okay, and then what I have done, if I select this, if I press on U, see, we have just simply taken it down. We're adding keyframes in the position. Same thing with Y's. If I press on U, see, we have added keyframe position, and at the same time when this goes down, we have the Y's logo coming. Perfect. And finally, if I scroll down, where is this? This button. So again, we have ensured that at this point we play around with the size of the button. That way, as we are moving ahead, it changes the size and it morphs into a square. Perfect. Let's have a quick look at our last scene. I think it starts somewhere over here. Perfect. Let's have a quick look from the beginning. Perfect. So that's it guys for this tutorial. I really hope you would have learned some new tricks and tips which you can go back and apply in your own videos. As always, if you loved the video, make sure to like it. And if you're here for the very first time, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you very soon next time.